You ever hear the sound of handcuffs snapping shut on a woman who thinks she's untouchable? I have. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like it. Karen Price. Yeah, that Karen. The one in the immaculate white blazer, pearls on her neck like a mayor's sash, standing on my porch thinking she could kick me out of the house I'd sweated blood to build. I was still holding my coffee, still in my slippers, while the sheriff read her rights. Her face stuck somewhere between outrage and disbelief. She always thought words would save her. Not that day. The sheriff's jaw didn't move an inch. And me? I just watched, quiet as a stone, coffee cooling in my hand while her little empire crumbled one lie at a time, right there on my front lawn. Let me back up a sec. About 3 hours before Karen's dramatic downfall, she nailed a letter to my front gate. Literally hammered it in, bold as brass. This wasn't just any letter, either. The words forfeit notice, evict by 3 p.m., screamed across the top in the kind of font that's meant to scare you into submission. Her signature was at the bottom, all pretty and proud, like she just scored the winning touchdown. It said my house now belonged to the Maple Ridge HOA. I owed 10 grand in made-up fees, and I had till sundown to get out. I faced down debt collectors, tornadoes, even a house fire once. But I had never seen anybody try to steal a man's home with nothing but a printer and a staple gun. I called the number on that letter. Guess who answered? Maple Ridge HOA. This is Karen speaking, she said, sugarcoating her words so thick you could pour it on pancakes. I didn't bother with small talk. This is Sam Carter. You want to tell me what you're playing at nailing that eviction to my gate? She let that silence hang in the air, probably trying to decide just how superior she wanted to sound. Mr. Carter, your parcel was annexed into Maple Ridge last quarter. You ignored multiple notices, failed to pay dues, and your property is now under forfeiture. I let her finish, then hit her with the truth. Karen, my deed is 40 years older than your HOA. I never signed a thing. She let out this long, slow sigh, like a teacher disappointed in a failing student. Mr. Carter, I understand this is confusing for older homeowners. That was it. That's when I told her, you got 3 hours to figure out how wrong you are. After that, it's your turn to answer the door. And I hung up, hands shaking, not from fear but from fury. The street outside was still. Sprinklers going on a neighbor's lawn, the smell of fresh-cut grass, some kid's bicycle thrown on the curb. Across the way, the new clubhouse, they'd painted it so bright it looked like a birthday cake, stood there, windows glaring at me like eyes, daring me to blink first. But I don't blink. I get ready. I pulled the old red binder out, property original, it said in block letters, spread everything out on the kitchen table. My deed from '85. The tax receipts. Zoning map with my lot just barely outside the HOA lines. No covenants, no agreements, just my name written in the kind of ink that survives generations. I scanned every page, emailed copies to my lawyer, to the county recorder, and to Brooks Mason, the sheriff, a good man who doesn't scare easy. Called him, too. Sam, tell me this is a bad joke, he said. Wish I could, Brooks. They're coming in 3 hours. He sighed, so heavy I could feel it through the phone. Stay put, don't answer your door for anyone, and record everything. I'll make some calls. So I set up 8 cameras, the old security system from back when folks tried to steal copper wiring. Then I sat on the porch, coffee back in hand, my old dog Rusty at my feet, and just waited. Didn't take long. 2 hours and change later, tires crunched on my gravel driveway. First a white pickup with the Maple Ridge HOA logo on the door, like they were the feds or something. Then an SUV with blacked-out windows. No plates, just attitude. 3 guys got out, big blue HOA enforcement, letters on their shirts. One with a clipboard, one with bolt cutters, and the last with a GoPro on his chest like he was filming for a reality show. And then Karen, white blazer, high heels stabbing the dirt, binder in one hand, bullhorn in the other. She looked at me like she was staring down a rat in her pantry. She cranked up the bullhorn. Mr. Carter, you have been served formal notice. You failed to vacate. Under HOA authority, we are authorized to reclaim this property immediately. I didn't move. Karen, you're trespassing. I called back, voice steady. "This is no longer your property," she shrieked, louder now. "You ignored repeated communications. We're here to secure the premises." The guy with the bolt cutters stepped forward. That's when I pulled out my phone, started recording, and said, "You touch that gate, you're committing a felony." Karen gave me this thin, practiced smile, the kind people wear when they're selling snake oil. "Mr. Carter, let's not make this harder than it needs to be." I just stared right through her. And then, well, let's just say the cavalry showed up. 2 sheriff SUVs, lights off, rolled up behind them, quiet as ghosts. Deputies stepped out, and then Brooks, sunglasses glinting, badge catching the sun. He didn't say a word at first, just looked at Karen, then at me, then at the bolt cutters. Finally, he spoke. "Karen Price, step away from the gate." She tried to argue, "Excuse me, Sheriff, this is private." He cut her off, stone cold. "No, ma'am. This is criminal fraud, property falsification, and attempted unlawful seizure. Cuff her." She froze. The deputies didn't. The bolt cutters hit the ground with a clang. Her enforcement team scattered. I just stood there, watching them load her into the SUV, Rusty barking twice like it was all part of his morning walk. You'd think it ended there, right? Cuffs go on. Story's over. Nope. People like Karen don't just disappear. They regroup. 2 days later, an envelope showed up. No return address. Inside, a public statement from the HOA blaming it all on a misunderstanding, calling me an elderly resident confused by administrative paperwork, saying Karen acted in good faith. Good faith? Yeah, I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. An hour later, there was on Facebook, smiling families under the caption, "Building community through unity." The comments were even worse, anonymous accounts calling me unstable, refusing help. It was a full-blown smear campaign, polished, professional, relentless. I called Brooks. "They're rewriting the story, man." He said, "Let him. We're not done." But I wasn't waiting. I called Olivia Holbrook, a friend of my late wife's, who edits the local paper. I gave her everything, the forged notice, the video, the arrest footage. 3 days later, the headline read, "Veteran homeowner targeted in HOA power grab." That's when the dam burst. 5 more folks came forward. Old widow, retired teacher, a guy now living in assisted care. All with similar letters, same fonts, fake signatures, bogus HOA seals. Turns out Karen was just the tip of a very rotten iceberg. So I called my buddy Wyatt, an old theater guy, could play anybody if you gave him a clipboard. We made up a new identity, Kenneth Talbot, state regulatory auditor. Printed him a fake badge that looked official enough to freeze any HOA board in their tracks. Wyatt marched into the Maple Ridge office, demanded to see records, printers, meeting minutes, the whole bit. The board gave it all up, terrified of looking like they had something to hide. Through the wire in Wyatt's lapel, I heard everything. Karen handled that one, reused an old form. She did the auctions through her own email. It was all there, real voices, real confessions. Sent the audio to Brooks, and he shot it straight to the district attorney. My lawyer, Maya Grant, didn't wait around, filed for an injunction, dumped everything on the state fraud unit. Within days, investigators found 4 shell companies, all linked to a P.O. box in Nevada. Guess whose name? Karen Price. She'd been funneling HOA dues into fake vendor accounts, forging property transfers, even selling off homes she'd seized under fake names. Over $3 million, hidden behind landscaping and security upgrades. Second time they came for Karen, it was quiet, no lights, just 2 unmarked cars and dawn slicing through her blinds. The footage shows her in a robe, clutching a coffee like a lifeline. She tried to talk her way out, didn't work this time. The officer kept reading, wire fraud, racketeering, elder abuse, forgery. The list kept going. By noon, her mugshot was all over the news. By evening, the state had taken over the HOA. The whole board resigned in a day. I got called to testify, wore my old gray suit, dusted off the shoulders, walked into court like it was just another job I had to finish. When the prosecutor asked how it started, I held up the notice she'd nailed to my gate. She tried to steal my house with a piece of paper and a bolt cutter. Picked the wrong damn gate. Karen sat there, pale, smaller somehow, hair pulled back so tight it hurt just to look at her. She never met my eyes. Jury didn't take long. 4 hours and she was gone. 17 years. No parole before 11. I didn't cheer, didn't gloat, just went home, poured a fresh coffee, sat on my porch. Rusty climbed up next to me, laid his head on my knee. Wind carried the sound of hammers. Someone building something new, something honest. Weeks rolled by. The HOA collapsed. The county launched investigations into 3 more neighborhoods, found similar scams. They passed a new law, the Carter Act they called it. Mandatory HOA audits, opt-out clauses for homes like mine. I never asked for the name. They gave it anyway. These days, the street feels different. Neighbors wave now. Kids come by with their bikes. The little girl across the way calls Rusty the hero dog. I don't argue. Last week I fixed my gate, welded every link, painted it black. Hung a new sign under the flag. Simple words, burned deep. This house stands. This man stays. Sometimes when the wind's right, you can hear that gate hum like a warning. People ask if I was scared. Truth is, I never had time to be. Fear's for folks who don't know what they're standing on. Me? I built this ground. And if there's one thing this fight taught me, it's that power only works if you believe in it. The second you stop, it falls apart. So let them print their notices, make their rules, try to play God over neighborhood. I'll still be here, same porch, same dog, same stubborn gate. Watching, waiting, ready for the next paper tyrant who thinks a piece of paper can scare me off my land. But let me throw this out. What do you think? Is it ever justified for a board or committee to seize somebody's home over some rules they never agreed to? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me if you think I was right to fight, or if there's a line where order beats freedom. I want to hear your stories. What would you have done standing at that gate? Let's talk about what justice really means, because out here, some of us don't move just because we're told to.